Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is At the Helm Sports. I'm your host, Derek Helm. Thank you for joining me for episode 172. Please be sure to follow and subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leave those 5-star reviews if you're watching on YouTube. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Down in the comment section, just leave a comment. Seriously, I know you're watching on YouTube. Maybe not even remotely close to as many people as are listening on Apple and Spotify, but if you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment down there. I don't even care if it's just random letters. Just leave something. But this week we're going to be diving into the next signature event. We have the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Quickly recap last week. I mean, the Honda, the Cognizant, not really the same as what it used to be. Obviously, Knapp shooting a 59 at PGA National, not something that I think a lot of people expected or would have signed up for. Obviously, the course showed its teeth a little bit over the weekend, and we saw a little bit of carnage, but I mean, it played pretty easy. I don't think a 59 was necessarily in the cards for anybody there, but obviously Knapp did it. And speaking of Knapp, just that decision to hit the ball out of the water, I don't know what he was thinking there. I mean, I get you don't necessarily want to take your penalty and you're kind of thinking that I don't know, you can maybe just get it up on the green or advance it, but exactly what happened is probably the most likely outcome. He said he could see the ball, thought he could get it up there. I don't know what he was thinking because that ball was submerged in water. I mean, maybe he saw the workout montage that they were showing and thought that he had the strength to get it up there. I don't know. I without a doubt he should have went back to taking the drop. At that point, you're basically just trying not to lose ground. I mean, it's not like you got Scotty or somebody chasing you down. So clearly it was the wrong decision and definitely cost him. But good for Highsmith, obviously incredible to basically make the cut on the number and come back and win the tournament. So another basically trash bag coming up out of nowhere and winning an event. Not really the best, but at least, know his name rather than Campbell breaking our hearts previously with Pot Getter. But, you know, it was funny. It was literally just the only thing I could think of was with him wearing that hat. It just every time they showed him, it looked like I think it was from Scary Movie where the officer's hat just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger with Charlie Sheen, and that's basically what it looked like. It looked like Highsmith's hat just kept getting bigger, but good for him. He pulls it out. He gets a win. Now he's going to be in the big boy events, and from a DraftKings standpoint, I've played him before. I actually kind of thought I was going to possibly get to him last week. Didn't play enough lineups, so didn't really get there. But he's a winner now on tour. So we continue the basically elevated events. We get the big guys, and then the non-elevated events, we're basically getting guys 75 to 1 or higher. But obviously, we have an elevated event this week, so maybe we can get back to some good golfers actually winning. Henley does what Henley does. Obviously a lot of people backed him. A lot of people backed him for a win, which, I mean, clearly that was never going to happen, but also a top 5. And he comes top 6. That was just brutal. Then I had top 10 on Straka. I know somebody that had a top 10 on Lowry. They both come 11th. It was just everybody was so bunched up there that it just losing one stroke killed you. And speaking of which, Horschel, I had a top 20 on him. He was easily there. He was in 18th place, and then he bogeys 17 and he loses the top 20. So it was just everybody was shitting all over themselves on Sunday and kind of hurt. But also Berger, Berger was basically contending to win. I do think that, heard that he could potentially be sick. That actually kind of made some sense. It looked like he might have been struggling a little bit there, but he played well overall and just down the stretch absolutely fell apart. Had the top 5 on him as well. He was in the top 5, I think, going into 14, and then just bogeys and double bogeys, and it was just a disaster down the stretch. So it was nice to see PGA National look like the course that we know and love down the stretch there, and it makes it more interesting. We're coming from Mexico. That's the birdie fest. We don't want to see back-to-back events like that. So obviously the first round it played way too easy, but it kind of evened out in the end. And overall, it was a pretty good tournament for the field that we had there. But as I said, this week we're heading back into a big boy tournament. Now we have the fourth elevated event of the year with the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Now this is the second of the player hosted elevated events. So we will have a cut, 72 golfers in the field, top 50 and ties will make the cut. And also, if you're within 10 strokes of the lead, you will make the cut to play the weekend. So last year, Scotty lapped the field, shot 15 under, basically beat everybody by 5 strokes. It was the largest margin of victory at Bay Hill since Tiger in 2012. Kitayama won at 9 under in 2023, and then Scotty obviously won in 2022 on a windy Sunday. He basically won at 5 under. So that is something we definitely want to take a look at here. Is the wind can cause carnage here, and it does look like on Thursday as of right now. Recording this on Monday, but things can change. But as of right now, it looks like Thursday we're gonna get some winds. We could see maybe 30, maybe even 40-mile-an-hour winds. So definitely want to keep an eye on that. Even in a smaller field, could potentially be some wind splits where we can have a wave advantage here. So definitely want to keep an eye on that. As a result, probably don't want to make all of your wagers until you get a better idea kind of what the weather is going to be. But we play at Bay Hill here, and it's 7,466 yard par 72 with Bermuda greens. The reason why the wind, I mean, the course is exposed. There's a little bit of tree coverage, but not enough to really block the wind. And there's 9 holes with water. You can basically see water on every hole, so it just kind of plays with your mind a little bit. And then there's 84 bunkers, so there is a lot of trouble here, and that wind can absolutely destroy it. I mean, we saw the year Hatton won. It was basically, I think on the weekend there, it was only Fitzpatrick was the only one that shot under par, and it's just we can see some carnage here. So there are 10 par fours, 4 par threes, 4 par fives, obviously par 72. You got to gain on the par fives if you want to contend here at all. That is an absolute must. Clearly, they're the easiest holes on the course, especially the 511 16th hole. There's a 52% birdie rate on that one. So you definitely want to do your damage on the par fives there. The par threes are all long. They are difficult. Basically, all of them are over 200 yards. One of them is like literally just under 200 yards, but basically all of them are long, difficult par threes. So you kind of want to tread water there. Excuse me. And then the three most difficult holes on the course are all par fours, 18th being the most difficult, 22% bogey rate, actually has an 8% double or more. So it's a difficult test. It's definitely a difficult course, and if we're going to see some wind, I mean, we could see some serious. We're not going to see a birdie fest that we saw at PGA National or the Mexico Open. So definitely like that. Obviously, the rough here can be very, very thick and penal. So as a result of the bunkers, the water, the thick rough, really guys are going to go accuracy over distance off the tee. So you definitely want to keep an eye on guys that can get it in the fairway or at least maybe just off the fairway first cut. So looking at some fairways gained, some good drives gained. That accuracy over distance, the average distance of drives here comes in a little bit lower than tour average, 278 yards. Fairways come in slightly higher than tour average, obviously, with guys focusing on accuracy. 64% of fairways hit here. And then guys might even club down on a couple holes here just to try and make sure they're in the fairway. So it is a pretty long course. And if guys are clubbing down, got a lot of long approach shots here, 30% from over 200 yards. And longer approach shots, generally it's a little bit harder to hit the green. So we're just under 60% greens in regulation. So there's going to be some missed greens here too, but you definitely want to focus on guys that are accurate off the tee and good with those long irons. Now, if you are missing greens, this rough is thick, but there are some runoff areas that run right into the bunkers and even some water on some holes. So definitely want some sand saves, some around the green. It's going to be basically a test of the entirety of the game. Now, the greens themselves, very, very fast. So it is difficult to putt here. Kind of evens the playing field as far as the putter goes. The best putters, similar to Augusta, like these greens aren't Augusta, but they are very, very fast Bermuda greens. So we can see some guys that aren't the best putters have good putting weeks here and kind of even out with some of the better putters here. Speaking of which, obviously we've always said if Scotty could putt, he would win every tournament. Well, he's come fourth, I think was his worst finish over the last 2 years, and he has 2 wins. So he made every single one of his putts inside of 15 feet last year. So these faster greens, just, I don't know, maybe it's just something that he likes, but he has putt well on them over the past couple years, and we could potentially see him run away with another one here. But you definitely want ball striking. Bogey avoidance definitely going to come into play, a little bit of scrambling. And then, as I said, you want accuracy off the tee, guys that are good with the 200 plus proximity range. Definitely want some par 5 scoring, because if you are going to contend here, you're going to have to get some birdies on those par 5s. And then the cut line over the past couple of years, basically +3 or +4. Last year was +4. 2023 was +3, +4 the year before, +3 the year before that. So we're looking somewhere in that range. If we dive into the field, obviously it's Scotty. Can't really bet him at +330, I think is the best I saw. Now, obviously, at the Genesis, I actually did bet him. Of course, he didn't win, because why would he? But I think that was like 5-1. That's the lowest I've ever bet a golfer at to win a golf tournament. So I'm just not getting there at 3-1. But I really do think Scotty wins this week, especially if it's going to play difficult, if it's going to be windy. So I'm going to play a ton of him at 12,000. I don't care. I would expect him to be very popular on DraftKings, but 12,000 is doable. I think there's some guys in the 6K range when we get there that you can play. You can pair with him. So I'm going heavy Scotty this week. And as far as bets go, I don't normally bet the without Scotty market, but I am definitely going to wait for the odds to come out for that this week, and obviously want to wait to see what the wind and weather is going to be like. So kind of makes sense to wait anyway, but I'm going to see, because there's some guys I have my eye on, and if they are pretty good numbers in the without Scotty, I would just rather do that this week and just not even have to worry about Scotty. Quickly, if we go over some of the guys that I would consider there, Justin Thomas, I've seen him at 28-1. If I can get a 25, maybe even a 22 in the without Scotty, I'd be fine with that. I don't mind Victor Hovland. He's at 50 right now. If I can get maybe a 45, something like that, I would do that. Wyndham Clark, I'd be fine with. And then the only 2 bets I have actually made so far, and really was just more so getting access to the each ways, was Theegala. I got him at 90-1. He opened on DraftKings at 110. So figured people were betting him down pretty quickly there. So I jumped in at the 90 and basically get the top 6 each way with him. So do like that. Obviously, if Scotty does still win, still have a chance at that each way. And then I just took a stab. Max Homa, 175-1. Obviously, he has not been playing well at all, but this is a course where he has played pretty well in the past. And the fact that I think there's only 5 other guys with worse odds than him in the field, in a 72-man field, on a course where he's played well. He's not playing well right now, but he has been a proven winner at 175-1. I just figured it was worth a chance there to get the each way on that as well. But if we're jumping back to DraftKings, Scotty is definitely going to be in the bulk of my lineups. I do like Rory as well. Obviously, the putter was a bit of an issue last time out, but you can't really be putting and not have confidence here with these greens. But he has played well here in the past, over the last 5 years. Last year was a 21st, so not great, but previously 2nd place, 13th, 10th, 5th. So it definitely is a place that fits his game. So I definitely will have some Scotty. I will have some Rory. I definitely want I'm probably going to play a little bit more Ludwig than I am Rory. So love where his game is at. I do think that this is a place that fits him. Hasn't really performed well yet in his career, but obviously it's still very young for him. So do like Ludwig there. And if I don't love some of the without Scotty market numbers, I might even make a wager on Ludwig. I've seen him at 17 to 1. So if I could still get that number, I'd be interested. Morikawa is a guy that interests me here just because of the accuracy. But if it's going to get windy, maybe that diminishes him a little bit. Just not having a lot of power. I mean, if it's too windy, is he going to be able to hit from the fairway? Now, he has improved his around the green tremendously. So maybe that does help him a little bit more and maybe makes a case for him. But probably not going to get there on him. Cantlay, I haven't decided on yet, but probably not because I do like Justin Thomas here. I mean, if you look at what he's been doing so far this year, he's been playing very good golf. He's played well at Bay Hill in the past. You know, he's improved each time he's played. Only played here 3 times. 49th back the first time he played it in 2015, but then 21st and 12th the last 2 years. So he's improved each time he's played. You know, a 12th place finish, not too bad last year. He's gained on approach in all 3 times that he's played here. So far this year, he has 3 top 10s in 5 tournaments. First on approach, first in opportunities gained, fifth in bogey avoidance over the last 24 rounds. So I do like where JT's game is at. And as I said, you know, his bugaboo sometimes can be putting, but these fast greens, sometimes things even out. And if you can get a hot putter, it can definitely go your way here. Hideki Matsuyama as well. I mean, this is a guy that he's only missed 1 cut in 10 appearances at Bay Hill, so definitely like that. Best finish was a 6th place all the way back in 2016, but finished top 23 of his last 4 appearances here, so do like that. You know, at this price, you don't necessarily need him to win. It's a place where he's played well. Obviously, been a little bit up and down this year. Really oddly, it's been the driver that's been affecting him. He hasn't been that accurate, so if that's going to be the case here, it could be a little bit sketchy, but he's striking the ball very well with his irons, 11th over the last 24 rounds. He's great in par 5 scoring, good with the sand saves, good with bogey avoidance. He's good around the green. So I do think that I'm going to most likely go to Hideki and hope that he can figure it out with the driver. If it's going to be windy here and you know, kind of play some sloppy conditions, I do like Fleetwood quite a bit at 9,100. Another guy that's solid with the irons, 10th in bogey avoidance. He's first in good drives gained, so definitely like that. I'm probably skipping over the rest of this lower 9K range. Henley, I have some interest. I think with a lot of people being on him and getting burned by him last week, maybe they don't go back to him, but at 8,800, I think it's a good price for him. I do think with how good of golf he's been playing, you can definitely make a case to go back there. Mav McNeely is another guy that has been playing incredible golf. He's never really played well at Bay Hill, but in these conditions, maybe he's worth going to. I mean, he's very good on those par threes over 200 yards. Fifth in opportunities gained over the last 24 rounds, 14th from 200 plus yards, fifth on approach. He's just, excuse me, really been putting together some solid performances. So there's a lot of guys in this range that you can definitely make a case for. I'm definitely going to go to Zalatoris. I just think this is the type of venue and type of conditions where Zalatoris can definitely thrive. So I do like him quite a bit at 8,600. So probably going to let ownership determine who I go to out of Henley and McNeely. And I definitely think that I want to go with Zalatoris. I do think Keegan Bradley gets a little bit popular here. Now, statistically doesn't look incredible, but has played well at the Arnold Palmer. He's made the cut in 12 straight appearances. He only missed the cut once, which was his first appearance all the way back in 2011. So definitely a place that he's played well. He's only lost strokes off the tee twice and strokes on approach 4 times over that span. So it's a place where he's been striking the ball well. He's had some good finishes. So definitely like that. Last year he was okay, 36th place, but previously came 11th, 10th, and 11th here. So I do think that you can make a case for him based on the course history there. Next, Victor Hovland. I mean, just this seems like a Victor Hovland course. Obviously, this current iteration of him kind of scares you. Been very very volatile, and the around the green always scares you, and especially out of the sand too. But I do think that Hovland could potentially pop here. So 8,300 I think is a good price for him. I'm willing to go there. Sepp Straka, obviously playing incredible golf, just has never really played well here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get there on him. I do like Wyndham Clark quite a bit, as I said, considering making an outright on him. 8,000 is a good price for him. I just, a place where, as I said, if you get hot with the putter, you can definitely do some damage here. And we've seen Wyndham do that many times in the past. So I do like him. Came second here last year. So I'm willing to go there at 8K. Then Corey Connors, 7,800. Another guy that not really playing the best golf right now, but, he's had a fifth place to start the year at the Century. Missed the cut at the Sony, 65th at Pebble, 74th at Waste Management. So really wasn't great there. But most recently, he came 24th at the Genesis. So able to turn it around a little bit. And he's missed the cut his first two times playing at Bay Hill in 2019 and 2020, but had a 21st in 2023, came third, 11th, and 18 in his three other appearances. So he has some good finishes here. He's never failed to gain strokes on approach at Bay Hill. So leads the field in strokes gained on approach at Bay Hill over the last 24 rounds. I think this is a place that he's comfortable. And I do think you can make a case to go there at 7,800. Bhatia, I like at 7,800. He is 14th in good drives gained, 17th in bogey avoidance, 4th in sand saves. He's 4th from 200 plus yards, so has a lot of what you like here. 7,800 I think is a good price for him. Not really going to go crazy too much in the 7K range, but I like Thigala quite a bit. As I said, I already made the outright on him. Hasn't been playing his best golf recently here, but this is a course where he's performed well. Sixth place last year, 14th the year before that. So I think it makes sense to go to Thigala. I'll play some Aaron Rai. Difficult course, difficult conditions. I think he's a guy that, for the most part, should live in the fairway. So do like him quite a bit. He's been striking his irons well, gaining off the tee. So I'm fine with going to Aaron Rai there. Sam Stevens, potentially. I mean, been pretty good with the bogey avoidance, second over the last 24 rounds, and obviously he's very good with the driver in the top 25 in good drives gained, seventh off the tee over the last 24 rounds. So Stevens is definitely in consideration here. And this 6K range, Nick Taylor, I just think the golf that he's been playing this year and the caliber of golfer he has turned into, I do like him quite a bit at 6,700. The irons are going to be dialed in, fourth over the last 24 rounds, sixth in good drives gained. So he's been driving it accurately. He's playing well with the irons. He's been playing well with the long irons. He's pretty good. Throat is killing me here. He's been good on par fives, so I do like that. Harris English, 6,600. Obviously, he almost won here a couple years ago, so I think you can make a case for him. And then don't know how much I really like down here too much. I think I am going to go to Homa. As I said, I already made the outright on him. I think in some larger field stuff at 6,300, he's worth a stab here. It's a place where he's played well, and I think I am going to throw him in a couple lineups there. As far as the rest of this range goes, really nobody that sticks out that much. I might be willing to go back to Highsmith. Just I don't know. Coming off his first win, I mean, how much does that really affect him? Maybe Dunlap, just another guy that's good with the irons. He's good on those par threes over 200 yards, and he's great with his irons over 200 yards. So maybe that's another guy to consider. But that's pretty much all I'm looking at for the time being. But that's going to do it for this week. I mean, obviously, check thehelmsports.com Wednesday evening. I will have all my bets up there. Not really deciding what I'm going to do yet, but also in the Mad Lab MMA Discord, I will have everything in there the second I make it. So if you are in there, obviously big UFC card coming up this week, definitely check it out. I mean, you could sign up for the week and see what you got, but there is no one better when it comes to combat sports than Mad Lab. And then you get all my golf stuff the second we got as soon as I put it in, it's in the Discord. So check all that out. And that's going to do it for this week. As always, thank you for listening. Greatly appreciated. I am your host, Eric Helm. And remember,
Just have fun out there.